Well, y'all, I am back. I did talk to one of my subscribers today, and that subscriber said they liked the way that in some of it I explain it. I guess I just kind of, when I feel like saying, say it. And if I don't feel like saying, I don't say it. So if you'd like to see more of an explanation of a particular story, we can do a deep dive into that, just like we said we would about the cubit, which we got to do a deep dive into. But I also know that this probably isn't the best way to record videos, but I hold my phone and I'm talking directly into my phone as if y'all was on the other side there. So if you have a better way that I should do this, put it in the comment. Say, yeah, try this instead. Because holding the book and reading and holding the phone and making sure I'm in front of it, that can be a challenge sometimes. So anyway, we are back at the story. We are starting on page 18. Yep, and at the top of 18 I have, and by faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. And so from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as countless as the sand on the seashore. As good as dead. Dead. I had to read that again. It almost looked like he was dead. It kind of threw me off. Happens a lot. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. Yep. Gad gave Abraham a child of promise, but Abraham had a child already through Hagar, Ishmael. Y'all, that's God gave Abraham a child of promise. I was like, yeah. But this looks like a commentary. Anyway, yeah, that's why glasses are on when I'm reading this. So God gave Abraham that child of promise, but Abraham had a child already through Hagar. His name was Ishmael. What would become of him? We know what becomes of him. A nation, mighty. They're still there. The child grew and was weaned, and on the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham was mocking. And she said to Abraham, get rid of that slave woman and her son, for that woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac. The matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son. But God said to him, do not be so distressed about the boy and your slave woman. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. I will make the son of the slave into a nation also, because he has your offspring, or he is your offspring. Early the next morning, Abraham took food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He set them on her shoulders and then sent her off with the boy. She went on her way and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. Oh. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went off and sat down about a bow shot away, for she thought, I cannot watch the boy die. And as she sat there, she began to sob. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the desert and became an archer. Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, "Abraham." "Here I am," he replied. Now, keep in mind, we just went through this story here, and like I said, it's not the full Bible. And in a piece of that story, one of the things that stood out to me is that so his wife gives him her slave woman to have this child with, and then when she's upset, he's like, "Well, it's your slave, do whatever." Dude took her as a wife. Y'all ain't putting your hands on my wife. I'm sorry, that just ain't happening. No, that don't sound right. I don't care if I got two. You ain't putting your hands on either, even if you're my other wife. I don't have two wives, but I'm saying, like, I just can't put myself in his shoes. It sounds a little bit odd to me. So anyway, sometime later, God tested Abraham, and he said to him, "Abraham." "Here I am," he replied. Then God said, "Take your son and your only son." Take your son, your only son. He already had a son in the desert, right? "Whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on the mountain I will show you." Early the next morning, Abraham got up and loaded his donkey. I said donkey like from Shrek. He took with him two of his servants and his son Isaac. When he had cut enough wood for the burnt offering, he sent out for the place God had told him about. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, "Stay here with this donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Abraham took the wood from the burnt offering, or for the burnt offering, and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the two of them went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father, "Father." "Yes, son," Abraham replied. "The fire and the wood are here," Isaac said, "but where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" Abraham answered, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." And the two of them went on together. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar and on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," he replied. "Do not lay your hand on the boy," he said. "Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Abraham looked up, and there in the thicket he saw a ram caught by its horns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. He who had embraced the promise was about to sacrifice his one and only son, even though God had said to him, "It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned." Abraham reasoned that God could even raise the dead. So in a manner of speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. So Abraham called the place "The Lord will provide," and to this day it is said, "On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided." And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, "I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. It's a good thing to obey God, that's for sure. Eventually, Sarah died. That's sad. Abraham bought a field and buried her, wondering all the while what would become of him and Isaac and God's promise. Abraham had taken another wife, a woman named Keturah, and had more children. Yet his entire estate went to the special son of promise, Isaac. Abraham died when he was 175 years old and was laid to rest next to Sarah. But the story is far from over. Isaac married Rebekah. As was the custom, she was chosen for him, but he truly loved her. 20 years after the wedding, the couple was still childless, but in response to many prayers, Rebekah gave birth to twins. Esau, the elder brother, grew up to love the outdoors and hunting. He was his dad's favorite. Jacob, the younger brother, was quiet and stayed at home. He was clearly his mother's favorite. The two boys vied for the inheritance rights, and Jacob proved to be a master manipulator and schemer. One day Esau came home famished, demanding some of the stew Jacob was cooking. Seeing an opportunity, Jacob sold a meal to his brother in exchange for Esau's birthright, the double share of inheritance due to Esau because he was the older brother. Sometime later, as Isaac lay in bed, weak and blind, he asked his hunter son for a tasty meal of char-grilled wild meat. After the meal, Isaac would officially pass his blessing and God's favor to Esau. This was to be Esau's long-awaited big day. Rebekah overheard Isaac's plan and came up with a plan of her own. She dressed her favorite son Jacob in Esau's clothes and covered his hands and his neck with goat skin to resemble Esau's hairy skin. She quickly cooked up some meat and sent Jacob, posing as Esau, into Isaac's bedroom. Isaac, squinting at his eyes and touching Jacob, wondered if this was really his hunter son. Twice deceitful Jacob lied to his aged dad. Isaac ate. After kissing his son and smelling his scent, Isaac was convinced he was talking to Esau. Then Isaac gave the blessing and confirming the double share of material inheritance to Jacob, irrevocably and completely. Soon after, Esau arrived with his own platter of grilled meat, only to discover that mom and brother had robbed him of his entire future. Angry to the point of fury, he planned to kill Jacob. Rebekah intervened once more and sent Jacob to live with relatives until Esau's anger abated. Yeah. So, what a wonderful day in that Bible study, I guess is what we'll call it. It's not a real Bible. But we see a lot go on there. A lot of it's missing. A lot of missing stuff. But we see where I could not have taken my son to the mountain. God, I'm sorry. I know you can do all things. Even if I did, my son probably would say, there's something wrong, Pop, because you've been balling the whole way up here. That ain't like you. I could not have some of these dudes have faith. Way bigger faith than I have. And, I guess a prayer should be, give me the faith of Abraham to take my son to the mountain, because, I ain't got it. Not possible. It's something. And, he had sons, lots of sons, but he got that one. That seems a little strange to me. But you know what? It's all going to work out in the plan. Wait and see where we go. So that is the end of day 5. We are on wonderful page 22. The top of page 22. Getting ready to go on. And I see my time is up. I'm not going to do any more. But I thank you for looking. I thank you, wonderful subscribers, for being subscribers. And I thank you for taking the time to view the videos. If you got something you think could be done better, just send something and say, hey, this is what it is. If you liked it, go ahead and do the like thing. That's cool. I love y'all. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye.